first step in the value chain, which is all about, production, of course, design, and how can we use, worldwide best practices and see what's out there already, maybe still small innovations, but how can we scale them up? And our first example, it's about, an important aspect of textiles. Of course, we consume a lot of water with the production on textiles. And we have a great company with us today, which is Daiko, and I would like to welcome Ernst. And I guess, their innovation can really be a next step in, mitigating climate impact. So Ernst, could you give an introduction on Daiko and tell us a bit more about, the innovation around it?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for the invitation. As Daiko, and I think you will show the slides.
Yes, the slide is on, yes.
Okay, yeah. Of course, what we, Daiko, we have developed a technology to color fabrics without using water, and with that also without using the chemicals you need for dyeing. As said, the textile industry, the next slide, is using a lot of water and mainly for coloring and finishing of the fabrics. And with that, a lot of chemistry is also used. We've developed a technology to work without water and to exchange that by using carbon dioxide. If you go to the next slides, we see that yes, we need a more sustainable way of producing, of doing the things to make our products. So we say without water and without all the chemistry that we use in normal dyeing. So in the next slide, I have a very brief explanation how that works. In the middle, you see a machine, a textile dyeing machine. We use CO2, the pure dye stuff, so without chemicals, and of course your textiles. You put that together in a machine, run the process, and you end up with colored fabric without the use of water. So the material comes out of your machine dry and basically directly ready to be used. Well, it's a long story, but in the end, what we did is to bring this technology from first tiny pieces of fabric into a production scale. And in the next slide, you see a factory in Vietnam, completely based on running this complete production on only using carbon dioxide for the dyeing process. Do you have the next slide? Yes. So this factory is completely based on running your fabric coloration on CO2 technology. And there are now 6 factories using this technology. As a brief introduction of what Daiko is doing.
Thank you very much, Ernst. And we'll get back to you later on, and also with some questions on how you think you could even further scale up this this great solution for water, using less water. We invited also Denim Expert, Mr. Mostavic Udin, who unfortunately cannot be with us today because he was struck by COVID. So he needs to cancel last minute. So we hope, Mostavic, if you look or your colleagues look, that you feel better and you get better very soon. But we have a very nice introduction video to show what Denim Expert is about and how they do their business in Bangladesh. So let's start the video of Denim Expert.
Climate change is the greatest risk for humankind, isn't it? 65% of greenhouse gas emissions come from fossil fuels combustion. 67% of industrial activities is estimated to come from the management of materials. 60 billion tons of raw materials are extracted from the earth annually, which is the equivalent of 22 kilograms of materials per person per day. Only 7% of these raw materials are used. Now we should think about global warming again. But the question is, can we stop and start again from the beginning? No, we cannot, but we can slow down the pace of global warming. Denim Expert Limited has already set its goal and started to practice with planning and already taken initiatives to save the environment. Sourcing renewable energy of 1.35 kilowatt-hours. Reducing water usage of 55 liters per kilograms of production. Denim Expert Limited reused 35% water for gardening and washroom and 65% water drain of release to nature after treatment by ETP. Complying with the zero discharge of hazardous chemicals, ZDHC, effluent standards. PACT, CP project consumption reduction. PRE program for energy efficient practices. Selected environmentally conscious suppliers. Adopting a circular economy framework. Planting of 1,500 trees over the last year. Denim Expert Limited invites all others to come forward and save the world for a better future.
So that was a very nice introduction video also of Denim Expert. Moving back to you, Ernst, also, and please join me in the discussion. And because we see that there are worldwide initiatives on, there are great initiatives on how to design more circular. We have the toolbox, we have productions. But of course, it's a big industry, well, to change, and we need to change in the upcoming years. Of course, we need to speed up the whole process to mitigate climate impact. From your perspective, what is needed to speed up the the pace, and also what are your recommendations on that? Ernst.
Sound was gone for a while. So I missed the first part of your questions.
Oh, no worries. For me, it's of course, we see great initiatives, and we saw great initiatives also, circular economy on the jeans redesign. We see Denim Expert. You have a great, technology, but we need to speed up the pace of, the circular solutions for textile production, and to change the whole value chain. And of course, but it's a big thing to change. So how do we, speed up the changes?
Yeah, well, you asked for 3 points. I think clean and sustainable production methods are very important to drive towards. And basically what I already said by Jade, using less virgin raw materials. So the whole drive should be in that direction. So recycling, very carefully think about what products do you use, how do you use them. And in the end, I believe that also by the government, it's very important that you drive this such a way that you let the people pay for the environmental impact, what they create. And in that way, collect money, what you can use in the end for further development of clean technologies. So those are 3 points that I would believe are very helpful to drive into a more sustainable, circular way of producing. Yeah,
and of course those are a bit of general, let's say, recommendations. What about for Daiko? What do you need? Do you see any limitations, or do you have any conditions for change that you would need to scale up?
What we see, we are competing with conventional industry where people are using water dyeing, conventional dyeing of technologies, where you see that the water intake and water exhaust is still largely uncontrolled and free, So it's relatively cheap for a lot of companies to work in that direction. So more regulations in that sense would help us a lot, and more focus on looking at sustainable and less environmental impact production methods. That would help us a lot. And of course, the information to the customers that they know how products are manufactured.
Yeah, so it's both ways, huh? It's of course it's the customers that need to be, aware of the amount of water that's being produced and polluted, maybe, and then it's of course about regulating. And where does it start? Do you think with the regulations? If we want to, speed up those regulations, where do we need to start?
I think governments should take very much care of the resources that there are in countries, and one of the very scarce resources is water. So I think a good water management and regulations around that will be very helpful.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for joining us and giving some insights on your production methods, and thanks for highlighting that. Let's move to the next step, discussing, well, it was already mentioned by Jade.